Because we look at, we don't.
No, you don't have a coalition, so I don't know what you're talking about.
No.
There is no coalition so far. That's the reality.
No, Rahul. I'm just saying that look at the possibility of that coalition, because that will have social coalition as well, apart from political coalition. And third, I heard somebody say that the leader is convicted. Now, let me tell you, a lower court has done it. We have moved to the higher court, and an entire political party is never convicted. I am hearing for the first time this bizarre kind of argument that by conviction of a leader, the entire political party is convicted. I mean, for that matter, I think going by perception, BJP stands convicted of demolition, of Gujarat riots, and these are all part of the narratives in Bihar as far as the Bihar Lok Sabha elections are concerned.
Meenakshi Lekhi is joining us. 22 seats being projected for the BJP, a gain of 10 seats. The idea of the Chaiwala working really well, especially in Bihar. We are seeing on seats where Yadavs believe the BJP can help beat Nitish. Even Yadavs are voting for the BJP, and that would be good news. You don't look very happy. You have reason to smile given the projections for Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. Welcome, Meenakshi.
Things working on my head, and somehow camera catches it all and you are able to reflect. Now, so far as this news is concerned, I can only say it's a very happy note, and when you give us 22, I'm sure we will try to better this figure also. And the reason for that is the manner in which the ill treatment has been accorded to the BJP, the leadership that Mr. Modi has given to the BJP, and the connect with the BJP leaders have with the people. And when you see all this and compare it the day on which the Patna rally happened and what Patna witnessed on that day and what could have happened was averted, is also going to go to Mr. Modi.
Okay, there are two factors. It's almost as if, Kiran Bedi, the upper caste are voting with a vengeance for the BJP and Narendra Modi. They want Nitish Kumar out, and he's also being able to build a social coalition, which is what is giving the BJP the jump in their vote share figures.
I see two things happening.
Yes.
I see a rejection emerging. I also see an affirmation emerging. I saw when these, as a lay reader, that when Nitish was with BJP, they were doing better governance. After the rejection or ouster, it was literally like an ouster of Modi saying, we reject you for whatever you are, for whatever personal reasons or professional reasons. The decline did begin. So I do see, third, there's a very important factor. There is a voter who wants to vote for an assembly, but wants to then hitch his victory and his future with a winner at the center. So if the Bihar voter is thinking that Modi is emerging as the winner at the center, he would like to go with the winner at the center and benefit as a Bihari rather than be with the loser.
And the other reality, Kamal Mitra Chinoy, is that in Indian politics, forget what we say sitting in television studios about corruption, about graft. Lalu going to jail and being convicted seems to have made no difference. If at all, it has evoked sympathy amongst Lalu's co-voters, and that's the reality.
No, Lalu has played his cards well, but Nitish had a strategic problem. He helped the BJP build its base. He is the one who made Sushil Modi a major leader. So if he wanted to break his alliance with the BJP, he should have done it much sooner. Because now the BJP has its own stature, has built its organization with the help of the RSS, and it will be very difficult to unseat them because all the other castes are gathering around the other possible coalition. There is no love lost between the Kurmis and the Yadavs. So he just made a miscalculation for which he'll pay quite heavily.
Will Rahul Gandhi leave aside his own ideological leanings or what he'd like to stand for as a politician and just accept the reality of the hurly-burly of the political world? Or will he still want to project himself as the outsider, untainted by the reality of politics?
Well, nobody's really sure, Rahul. Manishankar Iyer has been much in the news for saying the Chaiwala thing. But there's another remark Manishankar Iyer made after the assembly election defeat, which seems to be insufficiently covered. He said, I hope we lose. I hope we lose the parliamentary election. I hope Rahul emerges and creates a new Congress in opposition. If that is actually the Congress's strategy, and I hope to God it isn't, if that is the strategy, then yes, Rahul will spurn whatever hand Lalu is offering. If it's not, then I suspect Rahul will swallow his reservations and take Lalu.
Rajiv Desai, what do you see Rahul do?
Well, I
this can change the game in Bihar. Whether or not there's a tie-up with Paswan and Lalu, both of whom are desperate for a tie-up.
I think alliance building is going to be the name of the game. And I also think that a survey like this is a slice of opinion at a given time.
Sure, of course.
X. Add to that some good campaigning, good advertising, good alliance building, and the picture that may ultimately emerge is completely different than what has been suggested.
Which is also one of the
and
reasons,
it has happened
Ajay
in
Alok,
2004,
why
2009.
Nitish Kumar is now beginning to feel a little edgy and is so desperate for an alliance with at least Paswan. You know, he's now trying to woo Paswan. Paswan is wooing him, holding out that threat. If the Congress and the RJD don't together, I'm going towards the Janata Dal United. It seems your boss is feeling the political heat, Ajay.
See, as far as we go, Rahul, we are not under alliance with anyone right now. And if this election is being fought on the issues of development, if this election is being fought on the issues of communalism versus secularism, if this election is being fought over the agenda of inclusive growth and special status to Bihar, and if these all things exist on the ground, then I think your surveys does not rule out anything. Your surveys is as good as other surveys. As far as we go, we stand on our principles, and we think that the people of Bihar trust Nitish Kumar, and what the result is going to be there, we are all going to see. And
Okay,
whether
Manoj
vote
Jha,
bank is there or
are you
not, it's really
hoping
a matter of something for you to
that
speculate.
Congress spin masters
Because
and
from
strategists
22% in
out-
last elections alone, and with BJP at 16%, now are you trying to project that we have come down to below 10%? That's basically not possible because there's not a composition. Very social inclusive fabric what we have developed in our 8 years of our governance has given us belief that yes, we can do it and we will do it.
Well, maybe that belief is completely misplaced. That's at least what Seawater is projecting. Are you hoping, Manoj Jha, that Congress strategists are watching the mood of the nation and they realize that without the RJD and the LJP, the Congress is actually coming down to zero, staying at 2. That's a neither a gain nor a loss. They're staying at 2, and therefore the Congress needs Lalu as much as Lalu needs the Congress right now.
Rahul, even if for a moment I set aside this survey, the common perception is 2014 is largely about two different versions of India. In case of Bihar, the common perception is that the kind of India we look at, where I mean, even national heroes are not made to fight. I'm referring to Nehru and Patel. So if that kind of India has to be preserved, the matrix lies with RJD. And I'm sure Congress and Congress leaders will realize this. And I tell you, when this political coalition takes place, the results of Seawater, if you do it again after a month when
we will.
Alliance is announced, I think it would be reversal, a massive reversal.
I want to tell our viewers that starting now for the next 8 weeks, as we build up to the mother of all general elections, we will be putting out a poll every week. Seawater will be forecasting the changing mood in India as we build up to the big general election. We've discussed Uttar Pradesh, we've discussed Bihar. I want to take you through the numbers for the other Hindi heartland states of Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh. I'll start first with Madhya Pradesh, where in any case the BJP is on a very, very strong footing. The BJP already in Madhya Pradesh on a very strong footing. Let's see how things are currently. The 29 seats in Madhya Pradesh, the BJP has 16, the Congress has 12, and there's one others. Now, if you were to look at the projections for 2014, the picture is changing quite dramatically against the Congress. The Congress tally crashing by half. From 12, they're coming down to 6. The BJP jumping from 16 to 22. A massive chunk of the seats going to the BJP. The BSP picking up only 1 seat. The big story, of course, is that 6 seats lost by the Congress being picked up by the BJP. So apart from the pocket boroughs of senior Congress leaders like Digvijay Singh, Kamal Nath, Jyotiraditya Scindia, in all other pockets of Madhya Pradesh, the Congress is being decimated. The other reality is that unlike other states, in Madhya Pradesh, Shivraj Singh Chauhan is being able to tap into some of the Dalit voters who earlier would either vote for the BSP or for the Congress. He's actually been able to pull them away and include them in his coalition. That's happening. And the gap between the Congress and the BJP, the vote share gap is rising, and what happened in the assembly elections is essentially being replicated in the Lok Sabha elections as well. That is as far as Madhya Pradesh is concerned. Let's now come to Rajasthan, which was one of the big states from the Congress's perspective in the 2009 elections when they picked up 20 seats. The BJP at that time had only 4. That equation is being inversed in the Lok Sabha projections of 2014, where the Congress's tally from 20 now crashing to 3. That's a loss of 17. completely the opposite for the BJP. Their tally going up 17 seats. They're actually going up to 21. And in Rajasthan, we're seeing even leaders, senior leaders like Sachin Pilot, CP Joshi are in grave danger of losing their seats. The Modi impact, the BJP presence in Rajasthan, huge. And even senior leaders now seem to be in a lot of trouble in Rajasthan. Again, what happened in the assembly elections being replicated in the Lok Sabha elections. I also want to tell our viewers that Congress spokespersons have decided not to participate in this Mood of the Nation broadcast. Maybe they had an idea of the winds that were blowing across the country and therefore chose to stay away. I want to now come to Chhattisgarh. Chhattisgarh has been one of the key states for the BJP, where they picked up 10 seats out of 11 in the last Lok Sabha elections. Raman Singh, Modi holding on to those gains. They're losing somewhat. It's in fact one of the only states where the Congress's tally has marginally gone up. From 1, if we bring out the projections for 2014, the Congress's tally is actually going up to 3. The BJP is losing 2 seats, coming down from 10 to 8. This is the first state that we've seen so far where the Congress's tally has actually gone up, but that's very, very marginally. It is not significantly. The Congress is wiped out in North and Central Chhattisgarh. It is only in South Chhattisgarh that the Congress still has some sort of a presence. Let's now come to Jharkhand and take you through the figures for Jharkhand. Because in Jharkhand, the BJP had 8 seats. They're holding on to those 8 seats. The Jharkhand Mukti Morcha of Shibu Soren had 2 seats. They're holding on to those 2 seats. The Congress had 1 seat. They're holding on to those 1 seat. So it is Babulal Marandi who is appearing and developing as an Aam Aadmi-like figure, a strong, untainted, non-corrupt third force figure in Bihar. He hasn't done much as far as the Lok Sabha seats are concerned, but our projection is that in the assembly election, Babulal Marandi's party could do much better. For the time being, if you look at the vote share of, this is the UPA, the Congress and the JMM are in alliance. In fact, it is the Congress that is contesting on most of the seats. It's the JMM which is holding on to its tribal votes. It's the Congress that is losing out. So everywhere, it is the Congress that is the weak